let us discuss about the parts of the human nervous system. The nervous system can be divided into two main parts. Peripheral nervous system. It consists of all the nerves of the body like cranial nerves, spinal nerves, and visceral nerves. Central nervous system. It consists of brain and spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system can be further divided into two parts. Voluntary nervous system. This is under voluntary control of the brain. Autonomic nervous system. This operates automatically or involuntarily. Now, let us discuss about each part of peripheral nervous system, that is, PNS, in detail. Voluntary nervous system. The actions which require thinking, and are performed by us knowingly, are called voluntary actions. For example, speaking to a friend, writing a letter, dancing, cycling, kicking a football, standing in a room, or sitting on a chair, are all voluntary actions. It helps us to take voluntary actions, under the conscious control of our brain. Autonomic nervous system. It is a specific network of nerves in the body, which controls the processes, like breathing, heartbeat, digestion, sweating, etc., that maintain our life, and keep us alive. The nerves of this system are attached to the smooth muscles of the various internal organs of the human body, like head, heart, blood vessels, alimentary canal, lungs, kidneys, urinary bladder, glands, skin, etc. Now, let us discuss about reflex action and reflex arc in the peripheral nervous system, that is, PNS. Reflex action. The simplest form of response in the nervous system is called reflex action. It is an involuntary action by the body. Here, the term reflex itself describes the sudden action in response to something different in the environment, which is unconsciously done, and it is not in a controlled direction. For example, when we touch a hot substance, we immediately move away our hand from it. So, moving our hand immediately from the hot substance is called reflex action. Reflex arc, the pathway or route taken by nerve impulses in a reflex action, is called the reflex arc. It allows rapid response. For example, if we unknowingly touch a hot plate, we immediately move our hand away from it, because heat is sensed by a heat receptor in our hand. The receptor triggers an impulse in a sensory neuron, which in turn passes it to a motor neuron. The motor neuron passes the impulses to a muscle in our arm. The muscle then contracts and pulls our hand away from the hot plate. The muscle of arm is an effector because it responds to the stimulus. This pathway, along which impulses travels, is called reflex arc. The reflexes of this type, which involves only the spinal cord, are called spinal reflexes. Though spinal reflexes are produced in the spinal cord, but the message of reflex action taken also goes on to reach the brain. However, some reflex actions involve the brain rather than the spinal cord. Such reflex actions are called cerebral reflexes. For example, the contraction of pupil of our eyes automatically in the presence of bright light. The central nervous system constitutes of the brain and spinal cord. Now, let us discuss about the human brain and its functionalities. Human brain. The brain is the main coordinating center of the body. It is a relatively small sensitive organ, and constitutes about 2% of the total weight of the body, and is protected in a brain box, called cranium. The brain is surrounded by three membranes, called meninges, to protect it. The space between the membranes is filled with cerebrospinal fluid, to protect brain from mechanical shocks. The brain is broadly divided into three regions. Forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Let us discuss about each part in detail. Let's start with forebrain. It is the main thinking part of the brain. It consists of cerebrum and encephalons. Cerebrum. All our thoughts, sensations, actions, and movements are controlled by cerebrum. It has different areas for performing different functions. All the voluntary actions are coordinated by cerebrum. Diencephalons. It contains thalamus and hypothalamus. Thalamus. It regulates pain and pressure. Hypothalamus. It regulates temperature in the body. We will now discuss about the functions of midbrain and hindbrain. Midbrain. Midbrain connects the forebrain to the hindbrain, and it controls the reflexes for sight and hearing. It controls the reflex movements of the head, neck, and trunk in response to visual and auditory stimuli. Hindbrain. Hindbrain is responsible for activities like walking in a straight line, cycling, and writing, etc. It consists of 3 parts. Cerebellum. It is responsible for precision of voluntary actions and maintaining the posture and balance of the body. It enables us to make precise and accurate movements. Pons. It carries the impulses between the cerebellum and cerebrum. It controls arousal and regulates breathing, that is, it regulates respiration. Medulla. All the involuntary actions, including blood pressure, salivation, and vomiting, are controlled by the medulla. Let us discuss about how the brain and spinal cord are protected. How are these tissues protected? The brain is a delicate organ, which is so important for a variety of activities, and needs to be carefully protected. For this, the brain is present inside a bony box. Inside the box, the brain is contained in a fluid-filled balloon, which provides further shock absorption. Also, if you run your hand down the middle of your back, you will feel a hard bumpy structure. This is the vertebral column, or backbone, which protects the spinal cord. Till now, we have discussed about the nervous tissue and its function in regulating the impulses. Now, let us describe how muscles, or effectors, are able to move in response to electrical impulses and cause action. How does the nervous tissue cause action? Muscles are made up of muscle cells. Muscle cells have special proteins, which can change both their shape and their arrangement in the cell, in response to nervous electrical impulses. When this happens, new arrangements of these proteins give the muscle cells a shorter form. When the muscle cells contract, muscles also contract and become shorter. When the muscles contract, they pull on the bones of the body part and make it to move. Example: when electrical impulses sent by spinal cord stimulate the biceps muscle of the upper arm, they make biceps muscle to contract. And when the biceps muscle contract, it pulls on a bone of the lower arm and make it move, lifting the hand away from the hot plate.